Please support the bar by subscribe, and sharing my cast. Follow my social media at Facebook, Instagram, Gab, Parler, BitChute, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, CloutHub, and Rumble, or join my Subscribe Star. Make a donation by clicking on the links on the description box. I am a listener-supported show, so any of the above is greatly appreciated. Help me grow and spread the truth, since the mainstream media obviously does not want to support truth. All links are listed on the description box. God bless you and enjoy.
Welcome to the Speak Uneasy, a safe space where cancel culture does not exist, because we are in a different prohibition era.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Speak Uneasy, and I am the bartender tonight. Today's random read from the Bible will come out of the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 6. Harden not your hearts. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Jesus had given them rest, then would he had not afterward have spoken of another day? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. For he that is entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as God did from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into the rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. For the word of God is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his light, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Again, that comes from the book of Hebrews chapter 4, verse 6, all the way to verse 13, titled, Harden not your hearts. So my interpretation of this: whenever you feel that the Lord is talking to you, whenever you feel that the Lord is even present among you, don't deny that it's actually around you, whether it be God's presence or words. Don't deny it. Open your heart. Do not harden your heart to it. There's a reason why God is around you, or there is a reason why God is talking to you. He's trying to send you a message. So you must open up your hearts and try to figure out what the message is. Accept it. Don't fight it. So that is my interpretation of tonight's read. Now, on to our cocktail of the night. I'll be making one of my favorites. It's called the Black Watch. Now for this cocktail, I will be using the famous Grouse Smoky Black again, but I'll also be using a coffee liqueur. This one happens to be from Koloa. It's a coffee liqueur, and the brand is called Koloa. And I also have a bottle of Fever Tree soda water with a lemon peel for garnish. Now, this cocktail is going to be made as a highball, meaning there's no shaking in a shaker involved. I'll be making this cocktail in the glass. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by pouring 2 ounces. I can't even speak. I'll be pouring 2 ounces of the scotch. Got 1 ounce there. All right, I poured 2 ounces of the famous Grouse Smoky Black. This one's going to require 3/4 ounce coffee liqueur. Okay, did that. Now I'm going to open a bottle of the soda water. And you're pretty much just going to top it off as much as you can with the soda water. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my lemon peel and give it a twist for the oils to go into the drink. Go ahead and rub the oils around the rim of the glass. And twist the peel, put it in a drink, and that will be your garnish. What you want to do is give it a little stir too, just a little bit of a stir, not too much, just a couple, 2 or 3 stirs around. Okay. Now I'm going to take a sip. Oh, the best of both worlds. I got scotch, smoky scotch, not too smoky, with a coffee liqueur and the soda water and the lemon twist. So this, although this may sound kind of weird, the drink itself balances well. So we got the scotch, which is that would be your bold flavor there, the scotch. You add the coffee liqueur and it gives it a little sweet note. And believe it or not, the thing that balances this drink, the most important the most important ingredient of this drink, I think, is the lemon twist, because it gives a balance with everything. So at first you get the scotch, then you on the middle palate you start to get the coffee liqueur, and at towards the end you get the lemon twist as well. So this is a very, very, very balanced drink. It's a really good drink. I like it. This is one of my favorites. This drink and another drink that I have not made yet called the penicillin. That is another. It's a variation of a whiskey sour, but it's a little bit different. But yeah, this is one of my favorite drinks to have. So a little history on the Black Watch. So actually, the Black Watch is a military regiment from Scotland back in the 1700s. Now, how this came to be a cocktail, I couldn't find anything that how this became a cocktail, but I will give you a history of the Black Watch from Scotland. So the history of the Black Watch stretches back almost 300 years and is a source of great pride for the soldiers, preserving its traditions today in one of the most dangerous parts of Iraq. The regiment was originally raised as 6 independent companies in 1725. Their task was to watch over and maintain law and order in the Highlands after the first Jacobite rebellion in 1715. In 1739, these companies were embodied as a regiment of the line, and in nearly 1740 paraded for the first time on the banks of the River Tay at Aberfeldy, Perthshire. In the early days, due to the combination of their role and the very dark tartan which they wore, they became known as the Black Watch, a name which has stuck with them. The wearing of the distinctive red feather or red hackle on the left side of the head dress is said to have begun during the American War of Independence. In August 1822, the Adjutant General issued an order that it was intended to be worn exclusively by the Black Watch, and it has since become its trademark. The regiment fought with distinction during the First World War, but lost almost 8,000 men. During World War II, 6 battalions of the regiment were engaged in combat, and more than 1,740 soldiers lost their lives. In the second half of the 20th century, the Black Watch was deployed to Kenya, Cyprus, and the Balkans. But its most notable role in recent years have been peacekeeping in Northern Ireland. The Black Watch was the last British regiment to serve in Hong Kong, which was handed back to the People's Republic of China on June 31st, 1997. So that is a history on the Black Watch, which is a Scottish army regiment. Man, this drink is so awesome. I really like this drink. I mean, of all the drinks that I've made, episode 11 probably has my favorite drink out of everything that I've made so far. So here's to the Black Watch. Slanjava. Now, on to the show. So today I'm going to change it up a little bit and talk about the financial status of this country and where it may be leading to. I got a couple articles here today in regards to what is going on in the financial part of the U.S. I'm not sure how the whole world is going to be. I have my speculations on it, but we're going to go ahead and just I got these 2 articles here, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. So the first article, it comes from The Economic Collapse, and this was written back in the 12th of this month by Michael Snyder. The title reads, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell admits the truth. We're not going back to the same economy. Even Jerome Powell is admitting that the boom years are over. For months, I have been trying to explain to my readers that the debt-fueled prosperity that we were enjoying prior to the COVID pandemic won't be coming back. And initially I received quite a bit of criticism for saying that. But that criticism has subsided, because at this point pretty much everyone can see the truth. Despite stimulus package after stimulus package, and despite unprecedented intervention by the Federal Reserve, we continue to be mired in the worst economic turndown since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Fear of the virus continues to drag down the overall level of economic activity. More businesses are going under with each passing day, and the layoff announcements never seem to end. Normally, Federal Reserve officials try very hard to be relentlessly optimistic. But during a European Central Bank panel discussion on Thursday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell openly admitted that, quote, we're not going back to the same economy. Powell said, we're recovering, but to a different economy, and it will be one that is more leveraged to technology, and I worry that it's going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers. The central bank leader said he was referring specifically to, quotes, relatively low-paid public-facing workers who are bearing this brunt, many of whom are women and minorities. His use of the phrase, quote, a different economy, unquote, really got my attention. Mind you, this is an op-ed. When I am trying to break some really bad news to someone in a gentle way, I will often use the word different to describe what things will be moving forward. And I think that Powell is doing the same thing here. He knows that there is no way that things will return to normal anytime soon. And he is quite correct to be particularly concerned about how this will affect low-paid workers. Low-paid workers have been losing their jobs at a much higher rate than anyone else, and the job losses just keep rolling in. On Thursday, we learned that another 709,000 Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week, and that number is more than 3 times higher than what we witnessed during a typical week in 2019. The Labor Department report showed an 11th straight week that new jobless claims totaled below 1 million. But new claims have not yet broken back below 700,000 since the start of the pandemic and have held sharply above levels from before the outbreak. Throughout 2019, new initial unemployment claims were coming in at an average of just over 200,000 per week. Ooh, that is a lot, man. That is a lot. As of October 24th, a total of 21.16 million Americans were bringing home some type of unemployment assistance. 1 year ago, that number was just 1.45 million. Wow, what an increase, man. That's like 20 times. 20 times the increase. In other words, we are in the midst of a national unemployment nightmare, you think? And many analysts are deeply concerned that the new wave of lockdowns that is now starting to happen around the nation will cause a renewed surge in layoffs. As colder weather sets in and fear of the virus escalates, this is just all built up from the mainstream media trying to scare you people. Consumers may turn more cautious about traveling, shopping, dining out, and visiting gyms, barbershops, and retailers. Companies in many sectors could cut jobs or workers' hours. In recent days, the virus resurgence has triggered tighter restrictions on businesses, mostly restaurants and bars, in a range of states including Texas, New York, Maryland, and Oregon. The risk may be for more layoffs as coronavirus cases surge and some states impose restrictions on activity, said Nancy Vanden Houten, an economist at the forecasting firm Oxford Economics. Yesterday, I discussed the fact that one of the experts on Joe Biden's new COVID-19 advisory board wants a full national lockdown for at least a month once Biden is in the White House. Man, you know, let me finish this and then I'm going to give my thoughts. This is hard to do because I want to say something right away and I might forget to say what I wanted to say. So let me just finish this and then I'll browse down through the article and refresh. Needless to say, that would make the economic depression that we are currently suffering through a whole lot worse. I agree. But of course, there are a lot of Americans out there that simply are not going to put up with any more lockdowns. In fact, one survey has found that only 49% of all Americans would be very likely to stay home for a month if health officials recommended it. Sheep. Fewer than half of Americans say are very likely to comply with another lockdown. Despite growing concerns over the coronavirus pandemic, the latest Gallup polling shows about 49% of Americans polled between October 19th and November 1st said they would be very likely to stay home for a month if health officials recommended it following a coronavirus outbreak in their community, down from 67% in the spring. Millions upon millions of lives were turned upside down by the lockdowns that were previously instituted. The economic damage caused by another round of lockdowns would be incalculable. But it appears that more lockdowns are coming anyway. And that means a lot more economic suffering is ahead. Prior to the pandemic, 38-year-old Victoria Perez was working 2 jobs, but she quickly lost both of them once COVID came along. Now she and her children are living in city housing in Oakland, California, and they are just one step away from being homeless. Man. Let me continue. Among them is okay, I've already read that part. The city housing provided to people at heightened risk of the coronavirus lasts only through December. Perez, 38, is a cancer survivor. After the holiday season, what is she supposed to do if she can't find a new job? Being homeless is bad enough. When you add children to the equation, we are talking about this sort of nightmare scenario that nobody should ever have to go through. Unfortunately, the ranks of the homeless are absolutely exploding all over the country as the U.S. economy crumbles right in front of our eyes. In 2021, I am anticipating the biggest wave of traffic in the history of the Economic Collapse blog, as our ongoing economic implosion accelerates even more. I have been hearing from so many people out there that are deeply hurting right now, and I wish that I had better news for everyone. Sadly, the consequences for decades of exceedingly foolish decisions are catching up with us, and saying that we are heading into a different economy is definitely a major understatement rather. Okay, so that was the article. This guy, Michael Snyder, he has a book, and it's titled Lost Prophecies of the Future of America. And this is an op-ed written by him via the Economic Collapse. Okay, so my take on this article, he's very right about what's going on. And honestly, if Biden is declared officially as the president, and he did state that he was going to close down the country again, man, I don't know how we're going to I really honestly don't know how we're going to recover from this economically. We really need to stop worrying about we need to live our lives freely, dangerously but freely. If you're an able body, you should be out there working, but if it's almost as if they're doing this on purpose. And when I say they, I'm talking about powers that be, not necessarily the government, but people who control these people who have power in office, right? It's almost as if they're destroying this country. I mean, in the grand spectrum of things, it's going to be the whole world, because I think things are going on in other parts of the world where they're already being destroyed. But my opinion on this is that I think they're purposely doing this, man. We can't endure another lockdown. And also, to be honest, a lot of the states have the power to open up their states. Where I'm at, we're open. Of course, there's some guidelines we have to abide by going into establishments. Wearing the human muzzle, for example, is one of them. Keeping distance, but honestly, it's funny to me because they don't enforce the whole distance thing, but then they enforce the whole mask thing. So it's stupid. It's real stupid. But where I'm at, we're open. Businesses are open. But when I go back to California, that's a different story. my understanding is Orange County is open, but other than that, and I work in the county of Orange. Other than that, if you go to like LA County, like anywhere in LA County, no, it's closed. It's closed. When I'm talking about like restaurants are like takeout. You can do like Grubhub and all that stuff, but when it comes to like actual sit down and eat, yeah, or bars, even bars, and it's funny I mentioned bars because of course the show, right? And this is part of the reason why I veered my show towards a virtual bar, because I see that the bars are closing down. And of course, it's part of the bar atmosphere is just having a drink and sitting down and just talking to strangers and just talking to them about all sorts of stuff, just having a normal conversation. Of course, not with a normal conversation, not anything, not where there's absolute no sense arguing. I'm talking debates, actual debates, like cordial debates. This is why I decided to go this route for my show. But anyways, I'm talking about this article. So yeah, my take is that it will destroy the country economically. And yes, as far as the homeless rate goes, yes, I see this. I physically see this. I see that there is homeless problems. But you know what? I got to be honest. It's the Democrat-run cities that have this problem. When you go to a Republican stronghold, and look, I'm not trying to toe any party lines here. My values lean more towards conservatism. But if I have to explain what my political beliefs are, I'm leaning more towards libertarian. I'm a libertarian, and I'm very I believe the Constitution to the dot. That's what I abide. That is where my beliefs come from. I believe in leave me alone, less government. Let me do my own thing. Let me build my own. And if I fail or if I succeed, that will be on me because I'm responsible for me. And that's the way it should be. But unfortunately, a lot of people, it said here like 49% will abide by a lockdown. Man, those are the percentage of people that are lazy. They just don't want to go out there and work. But at the same time too, even though this is happening, I think this is a perfect time to do your own thing. You don't want to have to rely on working for somebody, because this is what happens. You have some kind of company dictating whether you're allowed to work a certain amount of hours or you're allowed to even come back to work. So when you create your own thing, you get to build and you get to decide how much work you want to put into it. This is another reason why I started this podcast, is because, look, I'm really tired of the job I'm doing right now. I'm so sick of it. I've mentioned a lot of these things in my podcast about my job, and I really want to say things, but I just can't. I can't. As soon as I quit my job, and that's going to be in the grace of God to help me with this, because this talking to you people was assigned to me by the Lord. This is nothing that I even planned on doing in my life. I had no desire to do this. But like I said, on few of my podcasts, something happened to me last June, and I was lost. I was very lost, and I prayed hard, and I read scriptures, and I needed direction. I needed to find out what direction I needed to go, and I felt it was time for me to start serving the Lord even more. So after all that prayer, reading scripture, trying to find answers to what the next step of my life would be, God assigned me to spread the word. And I said to myself, man, I'm not the type of dude to like go out there and force people what my beliefs are, or, I'm not the type of guy to stand in the corner, start preaching, start judging people and saying that you're not right with the Lord, because I'm not like that. One thing that has one of the things that I have changed as growing up was and also when I started having a relationship with the Lord, was free will is a very, very important thing. You have to be able to accept change. You have to be able to accept the truth, because that puts you more accountable into what you're getting into, as far as I'm not articulate. I'm very sorry. But what I'm trying to say is that when you open yourself up to accept these things, now you're more responsible and held accountable to what the consequences are, to what you're going to do with that. And when you have that feeling of responsibility and accountability, you're going to back what you believe in when you say it. It's going to be genuine. It's not going to be scripted or fake. It's going to be coming from you genuinely. But in the way I see it, it's going to be coming from the Lord through you genuinely. So I don't know if I made sense explaining that, but I know I'm telling the story about how I've started this podcast in conjunction with this article, but it ties in together, because the truth is, I think this is a perfect time for people to get out there and do their own thing. And if you go out there and you start making connections with people, then the people that you make connections with start helping you. You start helping them, and it's a community-based thing. Small businesses are awesome, because when you start connecting with people, man, you see the quality of people helping each other truly when they start helping you and you start helping them, and you see the community work as one, and it brings us closer together, have better relationships with each other. So I honestly think that this is a good time to do your own thing. People might be financially strapped. I myself am, which is why I'm only doing this once a week. And I really like to do this at least 3 times a week. But because I still work for an entity, I can only do this. I can only dedicate one day out of the week to do this. And eventually, look, with listener support, and I'm really asking for help, people, because I really want to. I want to be able to get that word out, and I also want to be able to do my own thing. And I'm going to be selfish a little bit. I want to be able to stay here with my family, because I travel every week. I'm separated from and especially during these times where it's very uncertain where the country is going towards. I don't want to be away from my family, because, what if something happens? I want to be able to be home and be the man of the house and protect my family. Just, I'm just saying if stuff hits the fan. So, yeah, your help would be greatly appreciated. And I don't want to sound like I'm begging, because I ain't Keith Sweat. I'm just kidding. So yeah, the article and my story ties in together, because I do want people to start doing their own thing. It's better. There's a lot more pride in what you would build too. Whatever it is that you want to build, there's going to be a lot more pride. There's going to be a lot more accountability. You're going to change as a person, When there's hard times, you got to embrace those times, because those are the crucial times that you actually learn things. Nothing is going to come easy. And I dove into this knowing that it's not going to be easy, because I don't know how to do any of these things. I don't know how to do podcasting. Well, I've learned. I don't know how to do the business part of it. I don't know anything of it. I don't know how to build a website. I don't know how to do like web design. I don't know anything. I don't know how to promote myself. The only way I'm promoting myself is through people that I know. So enough of that. And for now, I'm going to take a break. And when we get back, I'll get into the other article. And we're back. So the second article of discussion that I'm going to read comes from thestreet.com. I think it's another op-ed. I really like these op-eds because although it's not truth, like per se, it's not truth, and it's mostly opinions about other people. We can kind of see what these people are thinking, and then we can kind of decide what we want to do for ourselves. And also with op-eds, you got to do your own research. So this is kind of forcing you to go ahead and dig up what these people are actually saying. So anyways, this comes from the Street, and it's called Mishtalk, the Global Economic Trend Analysis. The article is titled "Controversial Gold Advocate Judy Shelton will soon be on the Fed." Okay. Trump's nominee, Judy Shelton, appears headed to the Fed. Judy Shelton has the votes. Senator Lisa Murkowski, man, I don't like that chick. A Republican from Alaska, she's a senator, will now back Shelton, giving the candidate 51 votes for the appointment. With that, Judy Shelton heads for confirmation to a Federal Reserve seat. I've had an opportunity to talk to Judy Shelton, and I'm going to be supporting her, Murkowski told reporters Thursday afternoon, according to reports in various news outlets. Shelton's nomination had been stalled in the Senate, even though the Finance Committee cleared her by a narrow party line 13-12 vote in July. Several key Republicans have been wavering in their support, and it appeared for some time that nomination would not be clear before the current congressional session ended. At the continuous July hearing, senators grilled Shelton over her views on Fed independence, her support of the gold standard, and her wavering over whether bank deposits should be insured. Democratic senators accused Shelton of backpedaling from earlier statements she had made on those issues. McConnell's move drew an angry rebuke from Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon, ranking member of the Finance Committee, who called it an effort to sabotage what little economic recovery we have by installing an unqualified political pick. Her ideas are so wacky and outdated. Giving her authority over the dollar would be like putting a medieval barber in charge of the Centers for Disease Control, Wyden said in a statement. Shelton's views are so extreme, Senate Republicans have long refused to confirm her. Attack dogs blast Shelton. In a stunningly ignorant yet hardly surprising op-ed, Stephen Ratner says, "God help us if Judy Shelton joins the Fed." Why do we need a central bank? Ms. Shelton asked in a Wall Street Journal essay in 2009. She wants monetary policy set by the price of gold, a long-abandoned approach that would be akin to a Supreme Court justice embracing the code of Hammurabi. Anyone who questions the need for a central bank immediately has at least something on the ball. The Fed has blown 3 consecutive economic bubbles of increasing amplitude. Diversity of opinion. True diversity is not about race or sex, it's about opinions. Former Fed Chair Janet Yellen was every bit a part of the good old boy network. Instead of another good old boy groupthink candidate, we will actually have diversity of opinion. Imagine having a dollar backed by something rather than nothing. That is true. We're not even on the oil standard anymore. The petrodollar. We're not even on that standard anymore. Imagine having a 100% gold-backed dollar so that FDIC would not even be needed. Neither of those will happen because Shelton will be ignored by the rest of the Fed. However, as Fed governor, he views will at least get public airing. That's a start, assuming she did not abandon his views on gold. I think there was a typo. Just to get the appointment. God help us. For further discussion, please see my July 24th, 2020 post, Controversial Gold Advocate Advances for a Fed Appointment, in which I mock Stephen Ratner for his view, God help us if Judy Shelton joins the Fed. Ratner has things donkey backwards, and you know what I'm talking about, people. God help us if we stay on the path we are on. Mish. So the guy who wrote this, his name is Mish. And this was written yesterday. It was written yesterday. So I don't know too much about the financial part of what's going on, but I do know this. I do know that President Trump has merged the Federal Reserve to the U.S. Department of Treasury, and I think he is the I think he's the chairperson of that now. I'm talking about the Department of Treasury. So the Federal Reserve is not on its own entity anymore. It's under the U.S. Department of Treasury, which is good. It's good. And as far as like having our money backed by gold, that is a good thing because gold will always hold its value. Gold will always be whatever gold is, as opposed to the US dollar, which used to be backed by the petrodollar, and we're not even on that standard anymore. I think that was taken away. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know anything about this. This is all opinion. Remember, this is all about digging for the truth yourself. And I'm just giving you a kind of like a pathway to go and enter that pathway, and then you get to dig on your own, the validity of what I'm saying, or if there's any truth holding to what I'm saying. Hence, truth seeking, right? The key word of that is seeking. You're seeking. So, I'm all for this. I'm all for Judy Shelton. She's a very big gold advocate, and it's about time that we have something of value for our money, because I don't like to have this paper money which has no value to it. We've lost a lot of value from that money, from the American dollar. And this has started ever since I think it was Roosevelt. I want to say Teddy Roosevelt. I know it wasn't Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt was the president during World War II, and I'm thinking back in the 20s. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt, where he wanted to buy gold, I think it's gold and silver, where he wanted to buy back the gold and silver and give people paper money for what they had. And I think we completely got off the gold standard by President Nixon. That's where it completely went off. Our money went completely off the gold standard, and we started going into a petrodollar. I think. Don't quote me on that. Do your own research. But I think this is great. I think this is a great transition. I do see that there's a lot of, like I said earlier about the last article, our economy is falling apart. The longer we close down the country, we're not going to go forward. We're not going to move on forward. We're going to face more problems. Yeah, it's very difficult for a lot of families right now. Well, it's very difficult for a lot of people in general, because people who work in restaurant, like in the restaurant business, or even barbershops, or they're having a hard time. So like I said earlier, this is a great time to start your own thing, but you got to be creative about these things. You got to be creative of what you're thinking of doing as far as your own business. But I am so for this. I'm so for the money to get backed by gold. It's about time that our money is worth something. And who knows? I don't even know if we're even gonna have a dollar anymore. I don't know. This whole pandemic thing is scaring people. Now they're saying in the media that people don't want to touch money. Man, for me, and this is just for me, I personally like to use cash to buy things, to make purchases, because I don't like the fact that I'm being tracked on what I spend on when I use my card. Yeah, I use my card because for example, when I go to Costco to get gas, I can't pay cash. I got to pay using my debit card. But for most part, I try to use cash as much as I can, because I just don't like being tracked about what I'm spending. And, that's how they start tracking you and figuring out what you buy, and you start seeing these ads on your phone or whatever. And I don't like that. That's creepy. That's like stalking me. That's stalking me. And I don't need Big Brother to know what I'm doing. It's none of Big Brother's business. Here's what's funny. I think this is funny. Like, Big Brother has no business to track me. But I have all the business to track big government. I have all the business to track government, because I pay for government, and government doesn't pay for me. So, but I'm just an individual. I'm a nobody. I'm just a number. We're all just numbers to them. I don't see you people as numbers, though. I see you people as people. I see people as having a story to them. So I am for this. My understanding about Judy Shelton, she's a very big gold advocate. So I myself invest in silver, physical silver. Gold, man, that's just far-fetched for me. It's just too expensive for me to get at least one gold coin. So I'm a big proponent about silver. As far as precious, I'm talking about the precious metals part. I hold my own physical silver coins. I do like Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. There are certain cryptocurrencies that I do hold. A few that I hold is Bitcoin. I used to have a full Bitcoin, but I had to pull some money out because I came into some financial stuff that I had to take care of. So I do have a portion of Bitcoin. I do have some Litecoin. I do have Theta. Theta is a big thing, people. Theta, I hear, and like I said, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff, but I do subscribe to this guy called his website is called Road to Ruta. His name is Bix Weir, and this dude knows a lot about financial stuff. I would recommend to go check out his YouTube channels for some information about silver cryptocurrencies, because this guy knows a lot. He seems like a genuine dude. He doesn't seem like the type of dude to screw you over, but he does what he preaches. Like if he says he's holding silver, he's holding silver, and he is a big silver bug. He loves to promote silver more than gold, which is cool with me because silver is very, very affordable. And hey, even if nothing happens, at least you still have that silver in your possession in case something does happen later on. So silver is very affordable. I think it's let me see. Let's take a dive here and to see how much silver is today, Monday, November 16th. So I'm looking at gold. I'm looking at Kitco on my app. It's called Kitco. So the bidding price right now for an ounce of silver is $24.54, and the asking is $24.64. So it went down 11 cents. So what? 11 cents. But I am a big proponent in holding physical silver. And if you can afford physical gold, right now the bidding price for gold is $1,891.30. The asking price is $1,892.30, and it's gone up $2.10. So I am a big proponent in holding things that are tangible, that are physical, that if something does go wrong, you'll be able to have something to barter with. And it doesn't even have to be gold or silver. You can hold lots of things that have value to it, that if something, like if the grid goes down or if stuff hits the fan and we don't have, and money's not going to be worth anything, you can always refer to I know people were going with a toilet tissue craze. That's one thing you can barter with: paper towels, paper products, storing guns and ammo. That's a big thing with a lot of preppers: guns and ammo, storable food. There's so many things that you can hold that you can barter if money is not accepted. Even if your card, or all of a sudden the banks just completely go out, like you lose all your money in the bank. Now, if you have stuff here that's of value, and I'll go through a list of what I think will hold value. Gold and silver, you got water, storable food, even canned foods. Store whatever food you can store, because you will never know. And even if nothing does happen, you have something that you can eat for later on, or with water too, you have something that you can drink for later on. Guns and ammo. It's always good to have guns and ammo because you never know, when you have to use it to defend your home. Or if if bad civil unrest happens, you have something that you can defend yourself with. Another thing that people don't think about that I think would be valuable would be coffee. Coffee would be a good one to have. It's not expensive at all. The thing with coffee though is it has an expiration date, so you'd have to cycle out your coffee. If you're a big coffee drinker, you'd have to cycle that out, so then you won't have bad coffee. But yeah, having coffee for barter, or another thing that people don't think about, and we are the Speak Uneasy, baby, booze. Booze is another thing that you can use for barter, believe it or not. Yes, you can use booze for barter. So those are just a few things that I think that is important to have. Clothes, winter clothes, all sorts of stuff. Blankets, tents, first aid kits, homeopathic medicine if you get injured or if you get sick. Man, the list goes on and on. It goes on and on. It's all about using your imagination and what you think holds value if stuff was to hit the fan. But I think that having all these things in hand is very important. And if you haven't started, it's probably a good time to do so right now. I know there's companies out there that sell storable food. Unfortunately, I'd like to promote them, but I'm not. I'd like to promote them. I wish they would sponsor me or whatever, but if I don't have the sponsorship, I'm not gonna advertise for them. But there's a lot of companies out there. I think when I went to Costco as well, last week, I saw that they were selling storable food as well in Costco. Hey, Costco has a lot of stuff that you can have on hand and stock them. Paper products is one of them, right? Because you're buying in bulk anyway. Coffee too, but there's a lot of good coffee companies, like artisan coffee companies out there. I don't like using mainstream coffee. I like supporting these businesses, these small businesses that make their own coffee. I really like to name some of these companies, but like I said, they're not sponsoring me. So, if they would, then I'd give them a plug all the time. But yeah, that's just that's just the way it works here. So yeah, like I said, if you haven't stored up on anything, build something, even if you don't have that much money. Like, buy a few canned goods. Every payday, just set aside some money strictly for just prepping. Because with the times that we're going through right now, you just don't know what's going to happen, people. You don't know. The most important thing that I think you should have, though, is probably a Holy Bible and your faith in the Lord, because the Lord will answer your prayers. But your faith has to be strong when you do that, people. You will be protected by the blood of Jesus Christ if your faith is strong, and if you continue to pray, and if you continue to try to strive for perfection, your prayers will be answered. I think that's probably number one, the most important, because if you haven't figured it out right now, we are going through a very, very spiritual battle, because people are acting so evil nowadays. And I'm not saying everybody, because there's still a lot of good people out there, but unfortunately, people who hate freedom, who hate this country, you can just see the demonic possession in their eyes when they're telling you hateful things. You can see it, you can sense it, you can feel it. That's what I do. I feel it. I see it in their eyes. I see that it's not a human telling me these things. It's pure evil that's telling me these things. So that's evil is revealing itself big time now. Evil always existed, but now, for some odd reason, these times, it's really revealing itself. It's being so blatant. The devil is being so blatant right now. The devil doesn't care about persuading people anymore. It's about, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do. So that's the state of the country right now, honestly, in my opinion. So, today was such a great conversation about the financial part of it. And it also came back to starting your own business. Whatever, dude, do it. Do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And whatever whatever struggle you go through, embrace it. Struggle is very necessary for you to grow. Okay? You won't experience life to the fullest until you fall on your face many times and get back up. It's all about getting back up. And even in the storyline, people like to see somebody redeem themselves from something so bad. People love that. The reason why they love that is because people love having hope. They like seeing successes after such dreadful times in somebody's story. They love to see how people just rise up to the occasion and become successful after being dragged through the mud. And I think a lot of us, especially if you're older, right? I think a lot of us have learned a lot of things going through such struggles. I know I have. I embraced the struggle that I went through because, hey, without that, I wouldn't know where I don't want to be at, and I wouldn't know how to work certain problems out. I'm glad to go through any struggle. Of course, I'm not going to go out and go have a struggle just for the hell of it. There has to be a lesson learned in every struggle that you go through. But if you don't have to put yourself through a struggle, don't do it, because it's just, if you don't have to, why would you? So I really encourage you people out there, whatever it is, even if it's podcasting, do it. Just do it. Learn as you go. So what? If you don't have that much followership, it's always going to start off that way. My follow, I don't even know if I have any followers, because I don't see any thumbs up on my videos, or I see some kind of followership on my dashboard, but I don't know if they're consistent. But I appreciate people who lend me their ears, because I just love to tell them what I try to get people on the path to find out what the truth is. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. What I'm doing is I'm presenting you, I'm pointing a direction to you, and I want you to go walk through it. Well, I'm giving you the choice of if you want to walk through that or not, to find out what if there's any truth to what I'm saying. We should always be doing this. I've repeated this many times, that we should always validate what's being said as truth. We should always do our own research. We should always that's how you become free thinkers. That's where the creativity comes from too, is when you start thinking and then you have ideas that just come at you, and then you put those ideas into action. So yeah, I want to encourage people, hey, if you don't like collecting, honestly, yeah, people like to collect money for not doing anything, but where's the value in that? Where is your self-pride? Where do you find your true self through that? That's depressing. To expect something every week or every month, or every 2 weeks, however they collect it, because yeah, I've been through that before. But I think, okay, so my story on that, when I was collecting unemployment, I was going through a transition, and I didn't stay on that too long. What my transition was, I was working, right? And I decided, you know what? I don't want to be doing this retail job for so long. And not only that, I had a family that I had to bring to California to move out to. So I said to myself, I need to improve myself. So that already the gears were already moving there, that I wanted more advancement in my life. So what I did was I quit my job, and I went to trade school full time. And that's when I was collecting unemployment, because I was going to school full time and not working. But after about 9 months of trade school, I got my job for the trade that I was training for, and I stopped collecting unemployment, and I started working, and I was able to bring my family over and started providing for my family. So that was a point in my time. That was probably one of the low parts of my life. It's just, man, I remember it like it was yesterday. There were times where I had nothing to eat, and the only thing I had was stale bread, mayonnaise, and a slice of freaking cheese, man. But I did what I did in order to survive, and I did have some help from my mother. She was able to help me out a little bit, but I'm glad that I never stuck to having to depend on somebody to give me things. I'm so glad that that I'm doing things for myself. You know, I'm so glad for that. And also, you know, there's nothing wrong with receiving help from family members. If you really need the help, but only for a temporary time, there's nothing wrong with that. We should be all helping each other temporarily, you know, whether it be financial, whether it be just to talk to them. Listen to their problems and talk to them and try to give them advice. It doesn't matter. As long as there's help temporarily, I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But as you're going through that struggle, you got to tell yourself, man, you got to tell yourself, dude, I need to get up to the next level. I need to step up. And that's what you got to do. So I have no qualms about getting temporary assistance, but that's the key word, is temporary. You can't be on assistance forever. It's where's the self-value in that? How do you be proud of yourself? You're stuck. You're depressed. Okay? Accept challenges. That's how our brains were built. We always have to get we get stimulation through challenges. And, you know, when we start overcoming a lot of things, that's when our brain sparks and makes us want to we want to start walking forward, eventually running and then sprinting to success. So, hey man, I'm going to encourage you people, do your own thing. This is the time to do your own thing. Yeah, we're going through financial stuff and people are losing their jobs left and right, but maybe this is also a wake-up call for you to do your own thing. Do your own thing. Fall as many times as it takes, and get back up and get up there and do it again. Because that's the only way you're going to succeed, is if you get back up and do it again. Okay? So that's the piece of advice I want to give to you people. I don't usually give the advice on the show. I guess today would be the first time I'm giving advice. But hey, I don't know how to do this. I'm doing it. I'm doing it in a way where this is how I think it should be. But hey, if I fail, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it. And here's another thing. Here's another thing to look at. We have each other to make each other successful. So what I'm trying to say is that I will be successful if people will help me become successful, which would be you. And when in turn I hear somebody who has their own podcast, I will help them become successful as well, because that's what we should be doing for each other. We should be picking each other up. And part of doing this podcast is to connect with people as well. I would love to meet people out there. I would love to meet people. There will be a time that I will want to meet people who are listeners, and maybe get interviews with people who have interesting stories. Hey, even if it's just an average person, I think everybody has some kind of interesting story in their life that people probably need to hear in order for them to kickstart what they got going in their life, right? It's one of those things where, hey, if that person went through that, and I've been through worse, why can't I? You know what I'm saying? I want this to be a pick-me-up on top of me spreading the word of the Lord, and also on top of just reading articles and giving my thoughts about it. I want this to be more than just just a gripe session. Griping it could be depressing all the time, and getting mad at what the system is doing. Yeah, it takes a toll on you, but at the same time with this show, I want to start picking people up. If people can help me to get up, then I want to be able to help them to get up as well, because that's what I think. That's how I think a society should work, is we should always pick each other up. And that's very godlike too. Like, not godlike being a god, but like being a follower of Christ. That is one of the things that it was taught to us, is to help each other out and pick each other up. So that's what I want to do too. Oh, okay. That was a lot of talking. So anyways, with that being said,
the bar is now closed.
I can't help but wonder if I'm under a spell. It's more than a passing notion. I've never fallen with such devotion. I can't help but wonder if it's only a dream. Am I naive, or can I believe that things are really as they seem? Can anyone explain how to understand what's true? I know I just can't tame it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. Can anyone explain it? How to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, but wonder if you wonder 'cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be.